Okay, good. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our statewide call. So good to see you. We have some really important things to cover today. The first thing is for all of the supervisors who are hiring. I just want to remind you of HR and AAEO rulings that we don't cater a position to any one single person. And if you're helping us find people for the job, that's really helpful, but we will never promise anyone a job because that's not allowed. And then it's ultimately up to the supervisor how we progress forward with it. So just be really careful when you're recruiting. It's a tricky situation. Just to tell them there's a job available. And luckily that's happening right now. It was just a reminder. The next thing that I wanted to cover is when we're teaching our classes, direct ed or indirect, that physical activity is a secondary piece of our program. It is not the main piece. So if you're teaching physical activity classes, then it is not following our curriculum. And so to hurry and correct that, make it appropriate. If you have questions, you can reach out to Casey or myself. All right, Casey.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things as the weather's getting nicer and the growing seasons are starting. I wanted to remind everyone that there's now 2 different ways you can work with community gardens. There's the Create Farm Fresh Gardens that Jackie has presented on the last couple of weeks, where you are helping people, working ideally with master gardeners and helping people learn how to grow and use food at a community garden. But then there's also what we've done in the past, the community garden work that's meant to get excess produce or produce to food pantries. So I didn't want people to forget about that option as well. If you're doing that type of community garden work where you're either collecting food that people grew or helping grow food for your food pantry, that's a PSE effort. And you can find the reporting for that in the protocol manual under the Create Healthy Pantries. So you would report that as part of your strategy for that specific pantry you're working in. So I encourage you all to look at that, that option for PSE work over the summer, because we know getting fresh produce to the pantries is a really great way to improve the intake of food pantry clients. And as far as Create Farm Fresh Gardens, we're currently working on an evaluation tool and reporting for that, and we'll give you that information in 2 weeks at our next statewide call, so you'll know exactly how you're going to be expected to report on that initiative. And then I also wanted to remind people of the Create Farm Fresh Food curriculum that's available on the staff website under the adult curriculum page. And that is it's a curriculum that's supposed to be used in collaboration with Create Better Health. So you would teach your Create Better Health series, but you would replace the physical activity information with the info you find in the Create Farm Fresh Foods, which is basically how to overcome common barriers to shopping at farmers markets, how to use produce, how to preserve produce, just freezing, not canning, we're not doing that. So if that's something you're interested in, it's a really great tool to help encourage people who aren't already shopping at the farmers markets to go and use those services in their communities. So start thinking about that and start marketing for those programs. You can find all the tools you need again on the staff website, and there's more information about it in the protocol manual. If you have questions about any of those, just shoot me an email, throw it in chat, but start thinking about sunny weather.
Leslie.
Hi everyone, this is Leslie with Evaluations. I wanted to go over some important reminders about our surveys today. This is just a reminder that all of our surveys are highly regulated through the university. So we have specific protocol that we need to follow when we're giving out our surveys. Amanda's going to pull up the staff website for me just to show you where the surveys are located. And I'm going to go over a few reminders. And then adult reporting on these surveys. Okay, so if you could click into the Create Better Health Free survey. Okay, so the first reminder is that our pre-survey is given out before you teach anything. So this is going to be on your first class before you begin your lesson. We've been reviewing our evaluations through pairs, and I've seen that, or I've heard that maybe this hasn't been happening. And the basis of a pre-survey is that it's done before any education happens. And if there's any questions on that, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can always email me. But I wanted to make sure that that was known. As well as at the bottom of the survey, there's a box for NEA information, and I need you to fill that out. That's going to include your name, your class, and the location. This is important for our records. You send all of the originals to our state office, and we need to be able to locate certain surveys at any given time.
Can you specify what class means? It's not just the curriculum, it's...
Sure. So class could be, well, you've already got your location, but class could be the lesson that you're on. So that's going to be lesson 1, lesson 2, because we know it's a Create Better Help class, but this is going to be the specific lesson that you're teaching. Thank you.
And so if you don't fill that out, I get credit for your work.
And we don't want that. We want you to be able to have credit for the people that you're teaching. So make sure and fill out your NEA box. And once again, this survey is to be given at the beginning of your first lesson. And then the post survey, if we can bring that one up. Is going to be given at the end of your last lesson in a series. And then we also have our qualitative surveys that happen in the middle lessons between the pre and the post. And we've asked that a series includes at least 4 lessons. So this would be your second and your third. Okay? And then also we'd like your surveys to be attached and reported in pairs within 24 hours of completing your program activity. You shouldn't be holding on to these surveys. You should be inputting them and then storing them in a locked, safe area until you can send them to the state office once a month.
And just to re-emphasize that, when we review your counties often, and even more so than we do when we're meeting. We meet once a month and cover every county for sure. But we're reviewing them constantly, and if we're seeing that you're working a lot of hours and there's nothing in pairs, it just basically tells us you're not doing your job. And so it has to be reported, has to be completely reported so that we can see what's happening, and it is part of the job.
Thank you. And then the last thing is about the script. So we're asked to read a script before handing out our surveys. And I just want to stress that this should be read in a neutral tone. We shouldn't sway our participants either way to either not complete the survey or feel forced to complete it. This is a right that they have. We want the data, and it's very important to our programming. And so we need to always read it, but we need to keep a neutral tone, and we need to provide our best to accommodate those who want to take our surveys. So that could include translation or having a copy of the script possibly in Spanish with you at all times. If somebody's struggling to understand what you're asking them to do, you can always provide a printed copy for them to read, or we need to do the best we can to accommodate them. Are there any questions about surveys? I just went over a lot.
I just want to add one more clarification. When Leslie says you need to have your surveys in essentially immediately, that's after that class. So like, don't hold your pre, your mid-series, and your post until you finish the whole series and then put them all in. When you get your pre's in. When you get your qualitative surveys, get those in. And then when you get your posts, get those in. So we know that when we look at your program activities, we'll see a lot more posts until you finish your, or a lot more trees, excuse me, until you finish your whole series out. So it should really be pretty quick turnover, finish the class, get them in. And that'll just save you time in the long run, so you don't have to sit down for 2 hours and put in, 30 surveys.
Yeah, and I think just plan your day around that. Just be like, hey, this is when I teach. I'm going to also turn in my paperwork. This is how I'm going to make that happen. And plan around it, because it is an essential piece. And, without it, it's grounds for termination. Without it, it's grounds for us losing our funding. So it's an important piece. All right, anything else, Leslie?
Nope, that's a great idea. You always need to plan in reporting in your time. So the time it takes you to put your surveys into pairs should be included in your hours always. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Jocelyn.
Thanks. I just wanted to introduce Jackie. I think most of you know Jackie. She's been an intern for us for 2 years now. She just finished her master's degree here at Utah State, and she's going to stay on with us and be the Kids Create blogger. So, and this is just a plug for Kids Create for those of you that teach youth. And I know in the summer we do a lot of lunch program sites and kids group activities. Please, please, please promote the Kids Create blog. It's full of recipes and physical activities and nutrition tips that are geared towards ages 5 through maybe 15, 16. We say 5 through 18, but it's very user-friendly. It's got lots of fun information, lots and lots of pictures, because that helps kids. And it just is a really valuable resource for our underage audience, especially when they're home during the summer and they need snacks. If we can get them to go to Kids Create and do a healthy fruit and vegetable snack as opposed to Doritos and pop, which is the easiest thing for a child who's home without adult supervision or with adult supervision. Anyway, so this is just a plug for the summer to be promoting Kids Create. This is Jackie, and if you have any questions, you could reach out to me or to her, and if you have any recommendations or needs, we're happy to accommodate as you're working with the youth to what you need. The second thing I wanted to talk about, I wanted to give Candy some time to talk. I know she's on. Do you want to talk for a minute about community gardens, Candy, or do you want me to?
I can. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So first I'll just tell you guys what's coming up on EL Utah this month. I'm going to talk a lot about farmers markets and try to get people excited about going to their local farmers market. So we already had a post this weekend about being a savvy farmers market shopper. We're going to talk about storing fruits and vegetables, fruits and vegetable swaps. So if you have a recipe that calls for something else you could use, top 10 ways to enjoy spinach. So just a lot of info to kind of promote using the farmers market. And then newsletters will go out in the next day or two. So here's your last chance to make sure you've got all your info in the calendar. Just make sure to mark things open or closed. And remember that if all the information isn't there, then I can't include it on the newsletter. So make sure you've got all the info there. And then last thing, those of you that are doing community gardens, I'd love to include that information in the newsletter. The names from the IGP list are kind of your prime candidates for community gardens. So if we can get that information out to them, that'd be awesome. So just you can just email me information about your garden. Most importantly, contact information so they know who to get a hold of if they are interested in doing the community garden program. And that's it for me.
Thanks. Yeah, I just want to reiterate once again just how valuable that email list is that we send out for the Eat Well Utah newsletter. It's literally our target audience, and you get them in mass. So keeping the Google Calendar up to date is just such a valuable resource for recruiting for all of you in your counties that are trying to get live classes. And in that newsletter, it can say there's a series coming up. These are the dates they'll be, and this is where. And that's how you can get people to know and plan ahead to come. And then, yeah, like Candy said, if you have a community garden going, the newsletter is a great way to get people in your county aware and get them there. So let's get that information both on the Google Calendar and then to Candy directly so she can put it on your county's newsletter. And if you have any questions about either of those things, either the Kids Create or the Eat Well Utah platforms, shoot me an email. Thank you.
Okay, Christy.
Well, I'm just going to jump right on the Google Calendar bandwagon there, just to let you guys know that we are scheduling summer observations. Just if it would really help us, Marcia and I, if the Google Calendars are up to date and at least 4 weeks, scheduled at least 4 weeks in advance, so that we can compare our schedules to what you've got going on, and we can plan our weeks. And it's very helpful for the counties for the counties that have more than one teacher to indicate the teacher. That way, if there's one specific educator that we're trying to watch or to observe, we can see which classes are their classes and plan accordingly. Also, we are going to be doing PSE observations. So we'll be contacting you by county to schedule a time to come in and observe your PSE projects. Either that's on location, just to see how things are going, and across the state with the PSE projects. So we'll be in touch with you on that as well. And that's all I have.
Great, thanks, Christy. Marcia?
All right, I was just putting in a plug for the Employee Wellness Program again. It is a new month, so look at the always available and then new challenges for this month. And remember to fill out your Qualtrics survey this week. Also, I wanted to go over modeling behavior guidelines again. Remember, the Employee Wellness Program, you don't get paid for, you don't get to count your time for that. That's just a benefit to you. The modeling behavior, you can count some time, but we need to make sure that you're also working the hours that you're scheduled to work. So for NEAs, you're allowed to take 30 minutes per 10 hours worked to create better health. And this will help you improve as a teacher, improve work on things that you need to learn to help you become a better teacher as well. But you need to work those 10 hours. So if you have a work week, because we do have flexible work weeks and sometimes life happens and we are only scheduled for 5 hours maybe, you have to prorate that. You can only count about 15 minutes of modeling behavior. Does that make sense? So if you work your full 20 hours, you can take an hour of modeling behavior. If you only work 5 hours that week, you take 15 minutes modeling behavior. Does anyone have questions?
Thanks, Marcia.
All I have.
Okay, Amanda.
All right, so we changed up the graduation gifts. We are doing the lunch boxes only. We're no longer handing out the T-shirts for the graduation gifts. So you'll get your participants will get a lunch box now. It says "Create Better Health" on it and has our logo. So if you're going on to the Qualtrics form and you're confused about how the form looks and there's nowhere to put in a shirt size, just remember we are not doing shirts. So thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Lacey.
Okay, I want to share information about farmers markets. To lead off, we do have the list from Utahns Against Hunger for where there will be markets that accept SNAP EBT as well as having double up food bucks. I am waiting to hear back if there are some locations that only accept SNAP that didn't apply for double up food bucks, and I'll let you all know if that is the case. But they are going to be in 11 counties: Box Elder, Cache, Davis, Duchesne, Iron, Salt Lake, Summit, Tooele, Utah, Washington, and Weber. There'll be 18 markets in total. One of those markets has 3 sites.
Can you send that for this group?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That would be great.
I sent it to Candy. So.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So and this information will be included in your Eat Well Utah newsletter. Thanks to Candy's awesome work. For those who may not be aware and who are new, just to explain, Double Up Food Bucks is a match program It is funded for the first couple of months. It'll be funded by private funding, but then the second half of the market season will be funded through the state of Utah. And what happens is someone who has SNAP or EBT is able to go and exchange credit from their card for tokens at the market. And they can actually get an extra up to $10 worth of matching tokens for fruits and vegetables. And so it's really great. It helps overcome the barrier as far as cost goes at the farmers markets. And I think nationwide it has been proven to increase participation in farmers markets. With that, I would like to know which counties will have booths at farmers markets this year. I imagine most of you should know at this point if you will be in a booth, and would you please just write in the chat each county to let us know which markets you will be at this summer. And if there's a county that's still not quite sure, please write that as well. You can just say, oh, you know, Utah County, there's so many, we know we'll be at one, we're not sure which. And I'll be happy to talk with any county to help them determine which would be the best location.
And just a good reminder too that you can't be at all markets, so you have to be at ones that are eligible.
With this, I think it's also important, you know, we have a holistic program that the counties that do have booths, that you're also using that Create Farm Fresh Food complementary materials in your Create Better Health classes. That way you can recruit people and let them know they can go to the farmers markets there and they can see you. Like, oh, check us out at our booth this weekend, to get them excited to go and help them feel comfortable in a new place because they'll know people or be familiar with your program there. Also, for people who maybe didn't go to your class and is already at the farmer's market, they can learn ways to better, I feel like you teach them how to store their food and how to use the fresh fruits and vegetables in their cooking. And so there's just a lot of great information that we can help people be the most successful at taking advantage of the fresh fruits and vegetables that are grown here locally in the summer. And so please, if you do have a booth, I highly, strongly encourage that you are having classes this summer, that you can refer people at the booth or you can refer people at your classes to the booth at your local markets. And just a note about demos. We know that especially markets that have a lot of people, demos can sometimes get overwhelming or take up hours and hours beforehand. As far as possible, because I know that some markets may not allow food to be prepared on site, though I imagine it's few. Please prepare demos on site. You know, it's a great way to save on your time, but also it's a teaching opportunity to show people how to make what they get to sample. Don't stress out about having enough samples for every person at the farmer's market. I think someone shared it's like Costco. You get in line and hope you get some, and if you don't, better luck next time.
And just a reminder, Jackie put together a really great farmers market toolkit last year that's on the staff website under farmers market materials that walks you through a myriad of things from, you know, contacting farmers markets to scaling your recipes to what you may need for health department code stuff, although that will be market specific. So check that out if you're just embarking on this venture.
No, and I think one other side thing, if possible, see if you can have an NEA on staff at the booth, but instead of having your whole team for those counties that have several people, look into getting volunteers, maybe interns who are helping with other extension programs, just because we don't want it to take all your time either. Be helping at this indirect activity so it doesn't slow down other areas.
Great. So one of the things that we're trying to help you start thinking about is, are you at the best place for your time and efforts? And so in all your decisions in programming, and we can't be everywhere, so we have to choose our very best places that we can be. Is it a good place? A good place is good, but a better place is okay. I mean, better than good, but the best place is where we want to try to focus so that we're hitting our target audience, we're making the biggest impact. So use that as your guide. And then my last piece that I wanted to cover is that we will be doing county proposals this year. So the supervisors, will have that, you fill them up, and it will cover what program areas are you going to need. Are you doing direct ed, adult, youth? Are you doing indirect education stuff at booths like farmers markets or health fairs? Are you doing social media work? And we're not asking to add more people in social media work right now. We're just asking, is that something you're doing and doing well? And if you're going to be part of that. And then also, are you doing PSE? And we're going to look at those and the commitment that you're contributing to help drive our next year's programming. But we need to be very comprehensive, and we need to include all those pieces into our programming. So that will be coming, and I'm anticipating that the first part of June. We'll give you a couple weeks. It'll just be more like filling in, checking boxes, not a huge hard proposal, but an agreement between the supervisor as they're supervising the county and the state office. So anyone else have any last things? All right. Do you guys have any questions for us?
This is Barbara. Would you please add my name to the roll?
Yes, I will. Do you want to do reporting counties?
Oh, yes, sorry. The reporting of counties was on the top, so I skipped that. So we'll jump to that. Paiute, will you please report?
Okay, so we are winding down on our school classes that I've been teaching, and we are getting our community gardens going. We have 3 this month, or this year, and we find the plot and help plant and everything on those. So it's kind of fun to get the whole communities involved in that. And I actually just got a call this morning to go teach at the Senior Citizen Center, so kind of excited about that.
Okay.
That's all we got.
Thanks, Makisha. All right, Salt Lake.
Hello. Melanie wanted me to share about refugees. So we have about 8 refugee classes going on right now. Some of them we're taking a break during the month of May for Ramadan. And then some of them we take a break for like their summer break during their school year. So we've been doing that, and it's going great. We've been using like our adapted curriculum we've been working on. And I'm also starting a youth refugee class in June at one of our like an apartment complex that a lot of refugees live at. So we're going to be doing the youth curriculum there. It's like an 8-week class there. So yeah.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Laura, I think to share too.
Okay.
Melanie wanted me to share kind of how we are switching gears with West Jordan Library because we've noticed attendance dropping off there, so we're changing strategy. We're wrapping the adult CBH curriculum this month, this week in fact, and then starting in June we'll do a 6-week food fun reading program with them and take a hiatus from adult curriculum at the library, and then try to do a push for the adults that come to FFR and advertise that adult curriculum will resume in September. So if they're interested in coming to that, and hopefully maybe reach a new audience that we weren't reaching before through FFR. But before we resume the adult CBH in September, we're going to do a big August healthy lunchbox after school snack ideas class with the youth curriculum for parents and kids to come together and just do like a one-time create my plate and using the healthy snacks curriculum lesson from that as kind of a jumping off point for that to also kind of recruit a new, unique, different audience than maybe we were reaching before with CBH, and then do a big push for them to come back in September and join us again. So hopefully that will pick up attendance with that class.
Good. It sounds like good adjustments and adaptations.
We're trying.
Anything else from Salt Lake?
We've been doing a big push for FFR. For the summer, we've had a lot of resource fairs that we've had the opportunity to attend. The YMCA Kids Day in Taylorsville, a Jordan School District family resource fair, as well as a family fitness night at a local elementary school. So we've really been trying to get the word out, distributing flyers and talking to as many families as we can to make a real big push for that FFR program in the summer, so that parents who are home with young kids will come out and attend that. So
great, thank you so much. All right, Tawilla.
Hey, this is Sarah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm currently redesigning our programs a little bit and getting ready for the summer. We finished up a couple weeks ago with a series
Sarah.
that I had posted and asked if anybody else had. Yes.
Could you just speak up into your mic a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm like right by the phone.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just finished up. We try to do 4 weeks or more, and just one of the things we have happen is people keep dropping off after a couple lessons. And so we ran a 3-week program, but we did them for 2 hours every time. And so we covered 6 weeks of curriculum, and that was actually very successful. Everyone who started the program finished the program. So they received 6 weeks of programming in 3 weeks. And I think I'm going to try and do that again. They were willing to commit the extra time, but people get so busy that after so many weeks, they just don't come. And so I think I'm going to stick with that idea and see how it works. But we're getting ready for our summer programming, which will include a lot of gardening and a lot of children's programming in connection with the Boys and Girls Club. So yeah, we're really excited.
That's great. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate the information on how you're joining the classes and having 100% retention. That's huge. So good job.
Yeah, Sarah, just keep us posted on how that's going, because that might be something that we'd have you share some more details with the whole statewide team if you have another successful round of that. That's really interesting.
Okay.
And if they graduated the class, make sure we get if they want their graduation gift, just,
yes,
put it on the order form.
Okay.
Thank you. It's something we're looking at nationally, and so it's very of interest to us right now. Even possibly something we might want to publish on. Utah.
Okay, so Utah is a little bit limping along right now because everybody keeps getting hired away from us. Sheila got hired away by Health Connect, and Kaylee Mumford, who has been here for many years, has just gotten hired by the health department up in Wasatch County. And so we are trying to get these new hires, and we do appreciate the state office helping us with that. We are looking at, we've got a few health fairs this summer. We've got, we're looking at our summer programming right now. We've got some summer schools that I know we're doing South Franklin. Last year we also did the Boys and Girls Club, but then we found out that they were charging them to go to the summer camp. And so I'm trying to get figured out they weren't charging, we didn't get any money from it. So, but there was a sliding scale as to being able to be part of the group. And so I'm not quite sure what you want us to do on that. I'm a little confused on where where it's okay and where it's not, because it's definitely our target group if they're going to Boys and Girls Club. I don't understand how they can charge for it, but they do. But I don't think anybody's getting any money from it. I think it's covering supplies. I don't know for sure what's going on with that. Kaylee Anderson is doing community gardens, and so she's already talked to South Franklin, and they're going to be doing the community gardens out at South Franklin Elementary, which is, I mean, not elementary, but the community center, which will be good. And we're going to see if we can get a few other community garden groups going together as well. Payson Library has Kaylee Mumford, right before she got hired away, reached out to Payson Library, and they're very interested and are scheduling us for the fall. I don't know if they are interested in food, fun, and reading over the summer, but we weren't sure how many people we were going to have because Kaylee Anderson had to make sure and get her work visa, which she now has, so that we kind of didn't schedule anything real heavy during May because we were worried about whether or not we were going to have anybody to work. Got food, fun, and reading classes going on with South Franklin and also the health department, and that's really good. And we've got some pretty good PSE work with the three. We're revamping our bulletin boards and things like that with the 3 banks we work with. Well, that's about what's going on right now.
Thanks, Kathy.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, Kathy, it's always sad when we lose our folks, and a lot of times we lose them to health departments, but I think it's a perfect opportunity to keep partnerships going. So I would really encourage, as your new hires come on, reach out to Kaylee. And I know this happened in Iron County as well. I think Delaney's probably a great person for Food Sense to partner with and get some of those PSE initiatives and some of those other things just continuing to move forward. So I don't think it's a total loss to our program. I think we can continue to expand our reach.
Yeah, and that was a good reminder too about, you know, look for paraprofessionals, people that might stay a little longer. But I wanted to, Kathy, let's set up a time when we can talk about the Boys and Girls Club again to make sure that it's very clear. And that is a case-by-case, you know, deal because it depends on the school, it depends on the location. So we'll talk about that more. And we're moving on to Washington County.
Okay, we're actually kind of limping along too. I'm going to take Kathy's words, but we're in the middle of a transition right now. I don't have a ton to report. We just got permission to hire again. I do know that our one NEA is going to go in and follow up on the smarter lunchroom thing. So that should be coming up here pretty soon with, I think it was 3 different schools that she was working in. So, and I'm not sure about farmers markets. Anyway, we're going to reinvent ourselves maybe, hopefully.
Okay, we're here to help you. So if you want some guidance, we're here to help you. And
okay,
farmers markets are a good place and sometimes a better place, but not always the best place. So think about that as you're looking at where you can be. And we do need some places out there. Farmers markets aren't a bad place. I'm not trying to say that by any means, because sometimes we need to focus on that area for double up food bucks and things like that. That's it. That lifts it up the chain of how good it is. All right, Wayne County.
Hi. So I'm getting ready to wrap up my school year. I have one more lesson. I'm doing healthy snacks so the kids can have ideas of what to do when they're at home this summer. Christy is actually coming down June 6th to help me with my PSE because I've kind of been struggling with that part of the job. So she's coming down we're planning on the 6th for her to come into the food pantry with me, and so she can kind of set me up for success for the summer and really kind of know what's going on as far as PSE issues go. But other than that, that's plan on being in the farmers market, and that's about it.
Thanks, Ashley. All right, moving on to Weber. Is Emily on today? Emily and Weber? Okay, so we almost had 100% of the counties reporting, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. And
As we recruit for new CVH classes, do we offer them 2 hours 3 times as an alternative to 8 classes or monthly classes?
It's an option.
Should we talk about it? Yeah, I think.
I think it's an option, and I think talk to us like on those individual things. Reach out to us. We'll help guide you. Okay, and then I wanted to let everyone know that we're starting one-on-one meetings with the state office as well. Today Salt Lake's gonna meet with us, and just so the rest of you know, we will be reaching out to your counties to do these meetings so we can just go over very detailed what's happening and we get a better view of what your work is. So we look forward to those. And that's all we have today. Any questions from you? Okay, thank you. We'll see you next week, supervisors, and also we will see everyone else on the 3rd week. Thanks. Bye.